Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of English with Hanny. I'm John, and as always, I'm here with Emma. Today, we're going to discuss a really important topic, climate change. The question is, how much time do we have to tackle this global crisis?
Great question, John. Climate change is affecting our lives in many ways, and it seems like every day there's a new story about extreme weather events or urgent actions governments need to take. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to our channel to stay updated with our weekly content on interesting topics that will also help you improve your English.
Yes, don't forget to subscribe. Every week, we discuss current events and help you enhance your English listening and pronunciation skills with topics that truly matter.
All right, let's start from the basics. When we talk about climate change, what exactly are we referring to?
Climate change refers to long-term shifts in Earth's temperatures and weather patterns. Although climate change has always existed, in recent decades we've seen a rapid increase in global temperatures, mainly due to human activities like burning fossil fuels and deforestation.
And this rise in temperatures has caused a series of problems: glaciers melting, sea levels rising, and more frequent extreme weather events like hurricanes, wildfires, and heat waves. Think of the devastating wildfires in Australia a few years ago, or the recent floods in Europe.
Exactly. But the real question is, can we still do something to stop all of this, or have we already passed the point of no return?
Many experts say we still have time to make a difference, but we need to act fast. International organizations like the United Nations are pushing for urgent measures. For example, the Paris Agreement on Climate was a big step forward, but its effectiveness depends on how well countries adhere to it.
Then there are individual initiatives. People can reduce their carbon footprint by adopting more sustainable lifestyles, like using less plastic, saving energy, and opting for public transportation. But the real challenge lies in the large industries that are responsible for most greenhouse gas emissions.
What do you think? Are governments and industries doing enough to combat climate change? Or should we be doing more as individuals? Write your thoughts in the comments and let's talk about it. It's also a great way to practice your English while discussing a topic that affects us all.
Emma, have you noticed how in recent years we've seen an increase in extreme weather events?
Absolutely. We've seen record-breaking heat waves in Europe and the United States, devastating wildfires in Australia and California, and melting glaciers in Antarctica. These events are no longer rare. They're becoming the new normal. And all of this is tied to climate change.
Yes, the world is changing at an alarming rate. Many coastal cities are at risk of being submerged due to rising sea levels. Think of cities like Miami or Venice, which are already facing severe flooding during high tides.
And it's not just about cities. Agriculture is suffering too. Changes in rainfall patterns are affecting crops, leading to smaller harvests and rising food prices. Many developing countries, which are among the least responsible for emissions, are suffering the most due to climate change.
Exactly. And that's what makes climate change a matter of social justice as well. The most vulnerable people are the ones who suffer the most, while richer countries are in a better position to protect themselves from its effects.
This brings us to an important question. What can we do as individuals to make a difference?
Small actions like reducing plastic use, adopting a low-carbon lifestyle, or supporting green policies locally and globally can make a big impact. Every little bit counts.
If you're enjoying this discussion, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Help us spread the word while improving your English by listening to important topics like this one.
Another thing we need to talk about, Emma, is the responsibility of big corporations. A large part of the world's carbon emissions comes from a few major companies. Do you think they should be doing more?
Definitely. Companies in the energy and transportation sectors, for example, have a huge responsibility. We can't ignore the fact that many of them prioritize profit over sustainability. Fortunately, there's growing pressure from consumers and environmental organizations to change course.
Exactly, but some companies are starting to make positive changes. For instance, many are investing in renewable energy like solar and wind power. The problem is that change is still too slow compared to the rate at which the planet is warming.
I think one solution is pushing for stricter policies. If governments impose tougher regulations on emissions, companies would be forced to comply. But of course, there's a lot of resistance from those with financial interest in the fossil fuel industry.
Exactly, it's a continuous struggle between economic progress and environmental sustainability.
So, what does the future hold? If we don't act now, what will happen in the coming decades?
Scientists warn that if we continue down this path, Global temperatures could rise by more than 2 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. This could lead to even more devastating natural disasters and mass migrations of people from areas that are no longer livable.
In other words, we need to act now. The future depends on the decisions we make today. And it's not just the responsibility of governments or companies. We as individuals can do our part too.
Emma, we mentioned renewable energy as a possible solution to reduce carbon emissions. What do you think? Is it really the key to a sustainable future?
Absolutely. Solar, wind, and hydropower are becoming more accessible and affordable. Just think about solar panels. More and more homes are installing them to power themselves cleanly. But the real challenge is making these technologies accessible on a large scale, especially in developing countries.
Exactly. And let's not forget that other energy sources are evolving too, like geothermal and tidal energy. However, there's still a long way to go. We need significant investments from governments and companies to accelerate this transition.
Indeed. Another important aspect is energy efficiency. It's not just about switching to renewable energy, but also reducing overall energy consumption, improving home insulation, using energy-efficient appliances, and investing in technologies like electric cars.
Another interesting question is the role of technology. Think about smart cities, autonomous vehicles, and how technology can help reduce our environmental impact. Do you think technological innovations alone can solve the problem, Emma?
Technology can certainly help. For example, artificial intelligence is being used to monitor and predict extreme climate events, allowing for quicker and more targeted responses. But I believe technology alone can't solve everything. We also need to change our behavior. We can't just expect a new invention to solve climate change without doing our part.
I agree. And let's not forget that many new technologies require resources. For example, producing batteries for electric cars uses rare minerals that need to be extracted sustainably, so technology must be accompanied by ethical and sustainable policies.
Speaking of behavioral changes, John, what do you think are the best ways to change our lifestyles and have a positive impact?
A good starting point is reducing waste. Think about how much food is wasted every year. Reducing food waste and opting for local, seasonal products can significantly lower our carbon footprint. Then there's reducing plastic use and recycling.
Yes, and another important change is related to transportation. Walking, biking, or using public transport are great alternatives to using private cars. But beyond that, we need to rethink how we travel. Air travel, for example, is one of the main sources of carbon emissions. So reducing unnecessary flights is another step toward a more sustainable lifestyle.
Indeed, small lifestyle changes can have a significant impact if done on a large scale, and I'm convinced that younger generations are more aware of this.
We've come to the end of our episode, but remember, each of us has the power to make a difference through both personal and collective actions. Every choice counts.
Exactly. And what do you think about renewable energy and the role of technology? What changes in your lifestyle are you willing to make to reduce your environmental impact? Let us know in the comments.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more important and useful topics to improve your English. And as always, see you in the next episode on English with Haney.
Thanks for being with us and see you soon.